Hey guys, and welcome back to Cultured Boys, a show where two guys just want to have a chat. I'm Nathan, and as always, I'm joined by Pepe, and this week we're back with some more manga reviews.
Oi.
It's another one of these.
Mm-hmm.
We saw something that looked kind of interesting again.
Mm-hmm.
It's not from Weekly Shonen Jump.
No.
It's a Jump Plus series, and it's actually fairly new. I guess before I talk any more about the things around it, I should tell you what it is.
Ooh.
We're reviewing a manga called Handsome Must Die.
Yeah. I think I was the one that suggested this one when we behind the scenes stuff, because I've seen this pop up on the Shueisha Plus app a couple times, and or like Manga Plus. I keep calling it Shueisha Plus. It's probably the same thing.
I mean, it is the same thing, but the app is called Manga Plus.
And yeah, it is, you know. You know what I mean when I say Shueisha. Everyone knows what I mean.
Well, I mean, if you don't know by now, the amount of times we've talked about this app, like, if you don't know by now, that's what we mean. I don't know what you're doing.
It's like our Bible for like starting new series, and like it's a great way to get into them. So we'd heavily recommend using it, especially if there's a way to like read manga legally as well. So we'd highly recommend this app.
Yes. So, you know, Shueisha sponsor us.
Yeah. Imagine Shueisha sponsored our video. Out of all the people to sponsor us, like that would be nuts. I mean, I'd be very happy. But that's the one thing though. Like I've seen this pop up a couple times, and the cover art is quite interesting. I think that's what caught my eye first, and
Okay.
obviously Handsome Must Die. Like I had no context of what this would be, and like I was just like today, hey, why don't we try this one series? Like it's not Weekly Jump, but like it might be worth giving it a shot to see what it's like.
Well, it's funny because it's not Weekly Jump, it's Jump Plus, but it is also. I checked earlier when I was reading it. It does come out every week.
Right, yeah.
It's another one of those where I think they were like, we've got too many in weekly,
Yeah.
so this will just get pushed to the bonus magazine.
Yeah.
Because I think that's all Jump Plus has ever been, really, is like, here's the bonus one.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's got weekly stuff, sometimes it's got like, you know, fortnightly or whatever, but it's like, I feel like the longer we do these kind of things, the more I'm learning that Jump Plus really is just like, whatever doesn't go in the main magazine gets chucked in there, and anything that's not good enough for that gets chucked in the other one.
Yeah. It's just there, and like honestly, like it's fine. Like it's just like obviously your weeklies are the ones, like Weekly Jump is the big magazine. That's the one where you get all your big hitters. And Plus is decent. We've read some decent mangas from Plus before.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of good stuff in Plus.
Yeah. So it's always worth giving it a shot sometimes. But yeah, Handsome Must Die. Do you want to give us a rundown of what the series is, Nathan?
Yeah, sure. So Handsome Must Die was created by Astra Ashima. It was published May 7th, 2023. That's why I said it was pretty new. On the Manga Plus app, there's 17 chapters available right now. And the franchise, or the series, is about Yuri, a high school student so handsome she has the other girls tripping over their feet and calling her a prince. But behind closed doors, she's a total idol fangirl. Her biggest bias? Ryo-kun from the popular group Handsome Guys. A chance encounter with Rio after one of his concerts turns Yuri's world upside down when she finds herself suddenly thrust into the world of idols disguised as a guy. What wayward shenanigans lie ahead in her comedic journey through stardom? That was straight from Shueisha or Shonen Jump themselves.
Thank you, Nathan, and thank you.
I took that right from the website.
I can tell.
You can always tell where I get these like descriptions from, because if it ends with something like "what wayward shenanigans lie ahead in her comedic journey through stardom," that's probably from them, because it's like punchy, you know,
like if anyone used the words wayward shenanigans in a normal conversation, I'd double take like, the fuck did you just say to me?
Could you imagine, like, someone comes up to you like, "Oh, how's your week been?" "Oh, you know, just filled with wayward shenanigans."
I low key want to include that in my vocabulary. I'll go into work tomorrow and be like, mate, honestly, it's just like a bunch of wayward shenanigans right now, and it is what it is. You know how it be.
It be how it be.
Yeah.
That how it be though.
Life be like shenanigans in it, the wayward kind. But yeah, how many chapters of this did you read, by the way, Nathan? That was like
I read the first one.
you read the first. Did you read any more than that?
No, I only read the first chapter.
So I read the first 5.
Okay, that makes sense.
And yeah, obviously, like as you can tell from this series, it's like there's a lot going on here. It is a comedy first and foremost, I'd say.
Yes.
This is the feeling of it. It's very much a comedy from the start. And it does like have a few twists and turns which are like did not see it coming from that direction. That's yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of why I only read the first chapter though. Again, from previous manga reviews and anime reviews and stuff, like I am a fairly harsh critic at the start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like if I'm not grabbed within the first chapter or the first episode, typically I don't continue.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, I'm more generous because I'm doing this for a show.
Yeah.
Because Pepe knows for a fact, if I was reading that casually, I probably wouldn't have made it past, I don't know, 5 pages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This, it really isn't the kind of thing I personally would read.
Yeah.
I could see why you read 5 chapters. It's kind of wacky enough
Yes.
that I did feel like I'm like Pepe might like that.
Yeah.
But for me it just sort of didn't grab me. I was like, okay, cool, whatever.
So the thing is with Handsome Must Die is like Nathan said in that little blurb, it obviously focuses around Yuri, this obviously fangirl of the group.
Yeah.
And like it's like, yeah, I can kind of see like she has like some charm to her and stuff like that. And then being thrown in the world of idols, like the way she gets into it, I think let's try and keep this like spoiler free for anyone that kind of does want to read it. I think that's probably the best way to go about this convo.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, everything beyond chapter 1 is a spoiler to me anyway.
Yeah.
Not that it matters to me. I don't care. I'm not going to read this anymore.
I think that the twist in chapter 1 though is pretty prominent.
Yeah, actually, shit. You're right. That's probably...
Yeah, there's a reason why it's not mentioned in that blurb, and I can see why it isn't mentioned, because when you do read this is a twist, and it does turn the series, obviously you find out that Yuri goes into the world of idols, and she finds a way into this.
Yeah.
But the way that she gets into it is a very interesting way of doing it.
I wouldn't say it falls in comedy in that sense.
No.
But it is the wayward shenanigans kind of fall into that category, where it's
Yeah.
kind of like, okay, I didn't see that coming. That was weird.
I think that's it. It is like I didn't see it coming. And it's something that is kind of serious as well. So it's something that you wouldn't necessarily see in a comedy straight away.
Yeah.
And what it ends up turning into is like a kind of detective-y kind of thing, which is really interesting. I didn't expect the series to go this way.
Same.
I say detective-y, but like kind of like is like a mystery. It turns into a mystery, which Yuri is the center of at this point. And it's honestly something that I have mixed feelings on, because I feel like this series, having read 5 chapters of it, like it is very, very much comedy at the forefront of it, and I can understand where the series goes with it. However, it's not enough to keep me gripped. At the end of the day, I finished that first chapter and I thought, this is an okay first chapter. I can completely see why you didn't carry on after that.
Yeah.
I wasn't entirely gripped by it either.
Okay. Interesting. I would have thought you'd have slightly more interest in it than I did, but the fact that it didn't grip even you, then dang.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I don't think it was like a majorly bad thing though.
No, it wasn't. It's not that it was horrendous.
No.
Like, the art's pretty good, like, for a comedy series, you know, like, it's got that kind of, it feels like a style I've seen before, but I don't know what it's called. Like, I don't know what manga or series it is. I've seen something that looks like this before, I feel like.
What it feels like is, I feel like there's a lot of comedy mangas that have been and gone in Weekly Jump. And it kind of falls into like what I'd say is some of those mangas that have been cancelled quite early on.
Yeah.
Like it resembles like this art style doesn't go heavy enough to be like, whoa, that art is amazing. Because it's decent art, don't get me wrong, but I'm not wowed by it.
Yeah.
And the story is there, and as I said, it doesn't blow me away within that first chapter. It is a solid story though. It does hit all the points. It gets to what the whole motive of the series is straight away, which is fine.
Yeah, it does.
Like, obviously, like, the protagonist, Yuri, has her motivations from the start. There's a lot of stuff that gets thrown at you, information you're like, oh, okay, so this is where this character's going. It's very clear with that, and it's very much clearly established from that first chapter what is going to happen within the series.
Yeah, I do agree.
You basically have an end goal there in a way, or like you want to there's a mystery to be solved and Yuri's in the center of it, which is great, absolutely fine. My problem with this, literally my first reaction when I finished reading the chapter was, this is okay, but it's not making me want to read more.
Agreed.
This is my thing with it, especially when you have some comedies out there, like the last episode we discussed, Spy Family, for example, a series which has comedy, and arguably like what this doesn't have is like Spy Family's action stuff, but that doesn't make, oh, it's missing this. It's just because it's a very different series.
Yeah.
But like where Spy Family gripped me from the start and made me want to watch more or read more, like this is just like, oh, it's okay. That's the premise of this. I guess I'll read the next chapter. It's like I'm not like, I only read the next chapters of it because I had the time to. I wasn't like, oh, I need to read more of this. I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot, see if it gets any better. And what this series ends up doing is I did read more, and yeah, it's okay. Again, I'm just finding myself reading it because I can read it, not because I want to, was my criticism.
Fair.
I feel like I could have easily stopped and read something else and probably had a better time with it.
Yeah, I could completely agree, because I don't even know that I would have fully read the full first chapter if I wasn't doing it for the show. It's just, I don't know, something about it. You get the feeling you're like, I could probably skip this one.
Yeah.
Again, and that's not any criticism like on the manga itself. I'm sure there are people out there who love this manga, and it's great. But yeah, for me, I was just kind of like, oh, okay, cool, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't really care that much.
Yeah.
Like Pepe said, it's like stuff definitely gets explained and established fairly quickly in the first chapter. But for some reason also, I just kind of was like, oh, cool. And I know everything. I still don't care though. Maybe because it was too fast. I don't know. Maybe because everything just happened so quickly that like I kind of like, well, I don't care about Yuri, the main character, Yuri Rigami.
Yeah.
Ryo Kirigirisu, like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Ryugo Nijibayashi, I don't care. Also, that's one complaint I have, and this is just me, but why do all the idol characters just have long, really hard names to pronounce? Like, Ryo Kirigirisu.
Yeah.
That took me a couple of times to read without saying out loud.
Yeah.
And I knew because I was going to have to say it for the episode that I actually practiced saying this today.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I know I'm going to get tongue tied. And then like the best friend, Ryugo Nijibayashi, right? Slightly easier, but still got that kind of like, I don't know, for me at least, I'm like, I know that's too many syllables to have to say all at once, that I'm just like, like, why?
It's a lot of syllables. It's a lot of syllables. And when you did say Rio's second name, Kirigirisu, I heard it, and I had to be like, is that really the name? I actually heard you say it, and I literally looked down at the name that you sent through in the notes, and I was like, God, it is the name, isn't it? Like, it's one of those things, I didn't process that at all. That actually, like, phrasing the name is like, what? Like, okay, fair.
Well, especially because it's like, those are the two next most important people in chapter 1.
Yeah.
Besides Yuri herself. Yuri's name is so simple. Yuri Rigami is easy to say. And then you've got Ryo and Ryugo.
Yeah.
Which in English is already kind of hard to like make a different sound, the U sound versus the O sound. Like Ryo versus Ryugo. And again, because I've done a little bit of Japanese study, so I'm like conscious of like, oh, you have to say those differently, you have to pronounce them, the ending vowel different. So I'm like more conscious of it, and it's just also, seriously, I'm still sitting here looking at Rio's surname, and it's tripping me the hell out.
It's a lot of eyes going on. it's because it's like boom, 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 boom.
It literally is.
It is one of those ones where when you said all that stuff about those characters, I completely agree with you. It's one of those ones where I'm like, oh, okay. Like, again, this is no fault of the story. No fault of like how the author's written them. I think it's just, I don't know what it is, but I really just I end up finishing that chapter, be like, okay, fine. this is a thing that's happened to me. I don't feel like there's the need for me to be pulled into that second chapter. I kind of force myself to at the end of the day. And again, it's just to me, what this series is bang average.
Yeah.
This is what I'd say describe it as, because it falls into that category of it's not horrendous. We've read worse mangas for sure when we've done this show, but we've also read a lot better. And this is literally for me. Like, when I say bang average, I mean a 5 out of 10 for me. Like, this is a series where I don't think it's like it does what it does well, but it doesn't do it enough for it to drag me into reading the whole series.
Do you know what this is? To me, this is like a protect me Sugamaru kind of level.
Okay.
Where it's just kind of like, yeah, okay, it's there, you know? You take it or leave it, but it's there.
I think Protect Me Sugamaru is still my bar of that was a bad series. This is the one thing, Protect Me Sugamaru. Like, there's certain series on our scale of ones that we've read, and Protect Me Sugamaru is down there. That is a that is a 2 or 3 for me.
I know what you mean, but like, to me, it's because it's also like Sugamaru was another sort of like comedy series.
Yeah.
And like, it's not that I don't like comedies, but like, again, in terms of manga, that's not what I enjoy reading normally. So like, for me, I find a lot of the comedy series on my barometer are like close to the bottom, because I'm just like, those are the ones I skip. You know, it's like Magu-chan, didn't really like that either.
Okay.
And that was kind of sitcom-y. And I'm like, you know, there's it's like, I tried to read Me and Roboco, don't like that either. And that's another sort of comedy one. There's a lot, for me in manga, there's a lot of comedies near the bottom, just because I'm like, they don't hit in the correct way.
In fairness, there are some of those series which I can understand with you. Magu-chan I thought was quite good. I'll say this, I quite like Magu-chan.
That's one we've never agreed on, because you like it and I don't. I really did not enjoy that one.
That's one of our major differences. I did actually try watching the Roboco anime, because that came out recently.
Yeah, I can't believe it's got an anime.
I didn't vibe with it. It's one of those ones where I could see why some people might find it funny, but I don't think it hits those comedy levels as something that like I enjoy as much. So I can kind of understand why like you aren't a fan of it. Like, and I'm not particularly a big fan of it either. It's just one of those things I don't really have as much time for Roboco. But I feel Handsome Must Die. Look, I think that the story is a unique one. I think it is quite interesting how the series plays out. Having read 5 chapters of it, I feel like it does ride that thing of, oh, okay, they go in this direction with it, and I can understand why they go in this direction of it, and it makes sense. I say it makes sense in the loosest terms because
yeah, it doesn't.
This is one comedy series which I find is so freaking stupid. Out of all of them, like,
wow,
like I love my stupid series as well. This one thing, the comedy is stupid in it, but that's how it goes. That's one of its things. Like,
wow, I can't believe, like, that is a statement and a half.
Yeah,
I know you for liking the stupidest, most random shit.
Yeah,
and if this is even too stupid for you, then I'm like, oh my god.
As someone that like really enjoyed Bobobo of all things, but Bobo is stupid, but it's random at the same time. So I quite like Bobo because it was so what the fuck. And
see, but for me, like, this falls into that kind of category. That's why I thought you'd probably like this.
See, I think it's because the story doesn't drive it enough for me, and I think because some of the characters I don't feel. I don't know, in the later chapters, in chapters like 2, 3, 4, 5. There's some characters in there which I'm like, okay, that's a character that's introduced and that's fine. But it doesn't feel it go into the random stuff enough for me it to be on the same level as Bobobo.
Okay.
So it has that struggle of meeting the comedy of... I'm trying to think what I'd compare it to. But I feel like comparing it to a good comedy is kind of doing... the other comedy kind of injustice. Which sounds like a really big insult. But
wait, can you answer a question for me?
Go on, yeah.
Would you say that from what you've read, this follows a similar vibe to when we watch Blazing Transfer Students?
Oh my god, okay. So this is my other thought that you've just reminded me of, is that I read this feeling this would probably be a really good live action. weirdly enough,
Okay.
but it's exactly what you said about the Blazing Transfer Students thing. It very much falls into that kind of thing. And I was like, this is fine as a manga series, but what I can imagine it as is Blazing Transfer Students.
Oh god.
I can imagine that this is exactly what it is. This is exactly what this series is. It's like if it was made live action, I could imagine it fits so well with how that kind of series is made, the over the top reactions,
Yeah.
the stuff where it's like, "Oh, yeah?" You know what I mean?
Oh, classic Japanese TV
Yeah.
reactions.
It is that over the top thing, and I feel it would work really well in that form of media. I don't think it works well in manga. I think if this is written as a script for a live action TV show like Blazing Transfer Students had like half-hour episodes and stuff like that, that is like set exactly what I feel Handsome Must Die should be in.
See, the only reason I asked that was because I was like, I could see this manga because it's comedy and because it's shonen. I was like, I started thinking of tropes, and I was like, oh, it's about idols, so there's definitely gonna be tropey idols.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking like Blazing Transfer Students because I was like, oh, that's it. There's gonna be the average one, then the scaredy one, the pretty one, the delinquent one, the whatever one, the whatever one. Do you know what I mean? I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's when I started to like make connections. Literally, I didn't think about it till just then when I asked the question.
Mm.
And now I'm like, the more you say it, the more I'm like, oh god, it literally would just be another one of those shows if it was live action.
It would be.
But you're right in the fact that it probably would actually work better as a TV show.
I've never read a manga that I thought that would work better as a live action. Never have I thought that before.
Yeah.
And it's weird. I think maybe that is it. Maybe that is. I feel like this is the wrong form of media for this story. I don't feel like I need to like read this from week to week. I feel like it is weirdly placed in and probably is set best of all within like that TV drama live action world.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a strange one, but it's jokes that you reminded me of that because that is my exact thoughts when I was reading it. I was completely forgot about it till you mentioned it.
Wow. Yeah. No, the more I'm sitting here thinking about it, yeah, you're right. Because the reactions would be way over the top, but it'd probably play more into the comedy factor.
Yeah.
Then you've got like other like visual comedic gags if you just had someone with a shittier costume or something, like a cheaper
Yeah.
one than everyone else. And then because it's about idols, different levels of idols, popularity and stuff, yeah.
Mm.
Visually, seeing things in motion and seeing the visual quality of everything would actually play better into it than the black and white manga panels probably could portray.
Yeah.
Not saying that it can't do it in manga, but like,
No.
yeah, I think the medium of an okay live action something, TV, web series, whatever it be,
Mm.
you're right. It probably would work better as one of those kind of like sketch slash like sitcom-y things.
Yeah, like gets like one season, like does it well with what it does, and then
Disappears or maybe gets a season 2 or something.
remember that episode of Blazing Transfer Students where they go to the
Yeah,
the
school.
the school that which turns out to be a massive host club.
Yeah.
That's it. I think that's what's actually like sold me on the idea that this is a live action thing more because it just fits so well in that episode as well of the.
It's funny because that was the episode I was thinking of as well when I asked the question because I was like, yeah, that's it, isn't it? That's the one.
We're on the same wavelength here. That is completely it. That is the episode. And I think again, I want to hammer this home as well. I don't think this is a bad series. I just think it's an okay series. And I think it does have its pros, and I think it is alright, but it just doesn't sell me on it doesn't make me want to read more. That's my only thing with it.
I think my biggest problem isn't even to do with the manga. I think it was because when me and Pepe decided to do this, we just sort of went off of a very basic description.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you remember we sort of read what it was about, but we didn't fully read like that paragraph that I mentioned like at the start of the episode.
Yeah, yeah.
We just knew it was about a girl who was obsessed with an idol, and then that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And then because it's called Handsome Must Die, I think this is a personal problem. I think I thought it was going to be about something else. So when it wasn't what I thought it was, then I was like, okay, I'm out.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was going to be about like some I don't know, some yandere or something, you know, like some girl who's just so obsessed. She somehow works her way into being like the ultimate love is that I have to kill you.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like she's such a fan that she's like, I can't have you, no one can have you, but that's the ultimate like form of my love and loyalty is that I killed you.
It sounds more like what you were describing is like kind of like a seinen kind of thing.
Kind of.
What you've described to me sounds like it would be more of like a, oh, that's an obsessive like yandere idol thing,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that's what I thought it was.
which I think is basically Oshinoko, is what you've described to me in a way.
Yes, which is a series I still need to catch up on.
Blood, yeah.
I need to finish. I'll get around to it. But I think that's what I thought it was. Because again, all I remember before reading it earlier was that some girl was obsessed with an idol, and all I knew was it was called Handsome Must Die. So I think that's why maybe I didn't enjoy it. It's because I was like, oh, this isn't what I was expecting. I don't want to read this.
That's yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of like weirdly like misunderstand. Like when we did decide to read this as well, like I think like the cover art was something very different to what I was expecting. I don't know. I felt like maybe I was expecting more comedy from it. Maybe that's what I was thinking of. I don't know, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of comedy in this already, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I also thought I'd be into it because it's like it's about idol culture and being a Hololive fan. So like me being a Hololive fan, I'm sort of technically into idols as well.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, maybe it's like, you know, I'll be enthused because it's like adjacent.
Mm-hmm.
But it did not. It did not cross over at all. Like I couldn't care less. Like you could take the idol factor out of this,
Mm-hmm.
and okay, the premise would change slightly. But I mean, like if you changed that Rio was some other like highly popular profession, if he wasn't an idol, if he was an actor or something, I feel like it could still work.
It would still work, yeah, absolutely.
Or if it was, I don't know, if he was a sports star or something or whatever, you know what I mean? I'm like, doesn't necessarily have to be idols.
No, yeah.
And I think maybe that's another problem with it is that like the premise could work it doesn't need to be that one famous position.
Yeah.
You can change it and the story could still work. I guess it just is convenient to say idols because it's like such a big thing.
It works. I think it works the most, especially with like where Yuri's coming from. Like she has that like. I mean, at the end of the day, like that's one thing. Like as a teenager in Japan, like I imagine idols are, like you said, a massive thing.
Yeah.
And it's the easiest way. It's the most easiest way to sell that story, I'd say, compared
Yeah.
to something like I don't know, like a celebrity or something like that. And the way the series goes with like her ending up in like some sort of idol school as well ends up being just like, okay, this is a reason why it's like.
Well, I guess we never mentioned that before, but that's why Pepe and I both thought of the same episode of Blazing Transfer Students.
Yeah.
The journey through stardom mentioned earlier is because she ends up having to partake in idol school.
Yeah.
So that's why we both thought of tropes.
Full of handsome guys as well, and it's like, oh, okay, so it's like
That's why that episode of Blazing Transfer Students and Blazing Transfer Students as a whole for a representation of like comedy shonen kind of stuff. It's just cause like it's the kind of environment where you could see it definitely being every trope under the sun that's ever
Yeah.
existed in a manga anime ever is gonna be in there. And they'll either be the allies or the antagonists or
Yeah.
rival groups or your group mates, XYZ. They'll be all over the place and you'll see plenty of them.
Like reading those next few chapters as well. There's interesting characters that come through as well. And again, like I said, it fits perfectly with that live action theme as well. Like all the characters that get introduced, it's like you said, oh, there's that delinquent one, or there's that like the nice one, and there's a scared one, and then it's like those like tropes do come through in certain characters, and you're like, okay, that's there. And obviously they're all handsome because they're in an
Idols,
school. Yeah, so like
The only thing I really want, and it's because of Spy Family and because of that episode of Blazing Transfer Students,
yeah.
but I need a teacher or a headmaster to be using Japanglish for no reason, like in Blazing Transfer Students, it was the headmaster with Anthony, and then Henry Henderson with the Eleganto.
you know for a fact, even reading this, where there is a principal.
Oh, please.
He literally says, like, he gets the whole school chanting at one point in the entrance ceremony. He's like, Hudson must die, Hudson must die. And like, they literally, and they just all start repeating it. And you know for a fact, they're shouting that in English as well. They ain't shouting that in Japanese. They're shouting that in English, and like I read that, I was like, okay, yeah, that's one thing, yeah. So
That's close, but I still need my like Henry Henderson
Yeah.
style eleganto.
Oh man,
I just love that kind of shit, man. You know, like the Japanglish is what makes a comedy like comedy to me.
it's what makes worth like it makes watching dubs. Sorry, not dubs, like the sub versions of anime.
Subs funny, yeah. It's like old Joseph, you know.
Yeah, that is one of the things that sells you on a series. Sometimes it's those over the top characters which works so well in Japanese, and that's why you get the best experience from them. Then, but yeah. I'm not sure if there's much else we can say about it, Nathan. Is there anything else you can think of the series that you want to mention? Because I feel like, yeah,
Not really. No.
Nah.
It's the thing is like it felt harder to talk about because I mean, not beforehand. We agreed on it whilst recording this to not spoil anything more than that. There's a twist. You'd understand why we have to say that because, like, if we left it any more cryptic, I don't think I could say much at all.
If you go read this series based on our review, I think us leaving that twist out is for the best for you, like for you as the viewer.
Yeah.
You read to like get a whole grasp of the series, you need to find that twist by yourself. Us explaining it is gonna be like, yeah,
You'll read it in chapter 1, so it's not like you're gonna wait long.
yeah,
And it's not that far into chapter 1. It's like just about halfway, maybe a little less.
yeah.
But yeah, I personally I don't think there's much more I could say about it. I agree with Pepe. Definitely not what I thought it was.
No.
Definitely the story was like, oh, okay, wow, okay, that was strange. Not sure why it was like that, but okay.
By the sounds of it, again, this is no way saying the series is bad at all, but I think from both of us, by the sounds of our experience with this, I don't think either of us would recommend this.
No, I wouldn't.
No, I probably wouldn't. But like again, like form your own opinions and read this series for yourself. See what you think and see what you think of the twist as well.
Yeah.
And come back to us, like leave a message in the comments and say like let us know what you think about it because we'd love to hear your thoughts on this kind of thing. But yeah, there's only so much we can talk about. I think it's probably like there's only so far we can say things without repeating ourselves.
Yeah.
So yeah. And at that point, it's the end of the episode.
Yay.
But yeah, thank you for listening, guys. If you want us to read any series like you'd recommend that we haven't done an episode on before, let us know. We can obviously try and incorporate that.
If you're gonna suggest it to us, please make sure it's something we can read a legal way
Yes.
and also easy to find. Okay, I just want to say that.
For example, on Shueisha Plus, the app where everything is free and easy to read.
Manga Plus, that would be great.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Not yet.
Hit us up, Shueisha. You know we're good for it.
Yeah, you know. But yeah, no, seriously, like I'm down for suggestions and stuff. But seriously, please, just for everybody else as well, make sure it's the legal way and make sure it's easy to find because nobody wants to be hunting down this stuff.
Yeah, man. Make it easier. We're old now. We need to find these things and it's getting harder.
Well, I mean, I didn't mean like that, but okay.
I'm old. You whippersnappers need to send me the Manga Plus series.
You damn kids and your wayward shenanigans.
Completely forgot about that combination of words. Right. Again, thank you for listening, guys. Click the links in the description. We've got the Twitter. Yeah, check that out. Got podcast platforms. Links are all there. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, bell button. You know the whole drill of YouTube. We don't need to say it too much. And yeah, catch us every Sunday for another Cultured Boys episode. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.